Introduction. My name is Emma, and I am 26 years old. My life is simple and quiet, and I like it that way. I am a teacher for young children in a small town school. I love my job because I enjoy helping my students learn new things like reading and counting. Every day, their happy faces make me smile. I live alone in a small, comfortable apartment. It is my safe place, filled with many books and green plants. In the evenings, after work, I often make a cup of tea and read a good book. On weekends, I sometimes go for long walks in the local park or meet my two close friends for coffee. My life is not very exciting, but it is peaceful and I am happy. I always felt safe in my small, predictable world. I did not think I needed anything or anyone more to be complete. Then, one afternoon, everything changed. I met a man named Tony. I was in my favorite coffee shop near my home, reading a book. He came to my table and smiled. His smile was warm and very friendly. He said he liked the book I was reading and asked me about the story. He was very handsome, with dark hair and kind, brown eyes. We started talking, and it was easy to talk to him. He was funny and smart, and he listened to me with great attention. When he asked for my phone number, I gave it to him without thinking. I usually do not give my number to strangers, but Tony felt different. I felt a special connection to him from the very first moment we spoke. He called me the next day, just like he promised. We went on our first date that weekend. He took me to a beautiful Italian restaurant near the river. He was waiting outside for me, and he brought me a single red rose. During dinner, he made me feel like the most interesting person in the world. He asked me about my dreams and my job. He looked at me in a special way that made my heart beat faster. It felt like we were the only two people in the busy room. He told me I was beautiful and smart. His words were like music to me. I was not used to this kind of attention from a man. After that perfect first date, we saw each other almost every day. He was always a true gentleman. He opened doors for me, pulled out my chair, and always said sweet things that made me blush. I quickly started to believe he was the perfect man. He was everything I ever wanted in a partner, but never thought I would find. I thought my quiet life was good before, but with Tony, it felt complete and exciting. I felt like I was living in a beautiful dream. He was my dream man, and I was falling in love. I was so happy. I believed our wonderful love story was just beginning. I did not know that my life was about to change forever because of him. I had no idea what was waiting for me in the future. 2. A new love. The weeks after I met Tony were like a beautiful dream. We started to spend all of our time together, and I fell deeply in love with him. My quiet, simple life was now full of excitement and laughter. Every morning, I woke up with a happy feeling because I knew I would see or talk to him. Tony was very romantic. He often brought me flowers, not just on special days, but just to make me smile. He called me every single night before I went to sleep. We talked for hours about everything. He told me about his work, and I told him about my students at school. Hearing his voice was the perfect way to end my day. When I was with Tony, I felt completely safe. He was kind and caring, and he always listened to me. I believed this was true love. We went on many wonderful dates. Sometimes we had simple picnics in the park, sitting on a blanket and eating sandwiches. Other times, he took me to nice restaurants in the city. We walked on the beach and watched the sun go down. He always held my hand, and it made me feel connected to him. One evening, we were sitting in his car, looking at the stars. He turned to me, and his eyes were serious. "Emma," he said softly, "I love you more than words can say. I want to marry you one day." My heart felt so full of joy, I could not stop smiling. Of course, I wanted my friends and family to meet him. My friends all loved Tony. "He is so charming, Emma. You are very lucky," my best friend, Sarah, told me. I introduced him to my parents a few weeks later. My mother thought he was wonderful, and my father shook his hand firmly. "It is good to meet you, Tony," my father said. "Please take good care of our daughter." Tony promised that he would always protect me and make me happy. I believed him with all my heart. I thought I had found my forever home in his arms. I was sure our love was real and that nothing could ever go wrong. 3. A big promise. The evening was special. Tony took me to a quiet, romantic restaurant near the river. It had big windows, and we could see the city lights on the water. Soft music played, and small lights were all around our table. We talked and laughed for hours about everything and nothing. I felt so happy just to be with him. After we finished our dinner, Tony looked at me. His eyes were serious, but also very kind. He took my hand across the table. My heart started to beat faster. I did not know what was happening, but I felt something important was coming. Then, he moved his chair back and slowly knelt on one knee. He opened a small, dark blue box. Inside was a beautiful ring with a small, shining diamond. "Emma," he said, his voice soft and a little nervous, "you make me the happiest man in the world. I want to spend every day of my life with you. Will you marry me?" My whole body felt warm. Tears came to my eyes, but they were happy tears. I knew this was the most important question I would ever answer. I could not speak for a moment. Then I said, "Yes, yes, of course, I will marry you." Tony smiled the biggest smile I had ever seen. He carefully put the ring on my finger. It was a perfect fit. He stood up and kissed me, and some of the other people in the restaurant clapped for us. I felt like I was in a movie. He held me close and told me he loved me more than anything. On the way home, I could not stop looking at my hand. The ring was a promise. It was a promise of a future with the man I loved. He promised he would always take care of me. The next day, we told everyone our good news. We called my parents first. My mother cried on the phone because she was so happy. My friends all wanted to see the ring and hear the story. They said Tony and I were the perfect couple. Soon, we started to plan our wedding. We bought magazines and looked at pictures of dresses and flowers online. We made lists of guests and talked about the music we wanted. Every small decision felt important and exciting because we were making it together. I was full of so much happiness during those weeks. Every morning, I woke up and saw the ring on my finger. It reminded me that my wonderful new life was real. I believed our love was the strongest thing in the world. I had no doubts. I thought nothing could ever go wrong for us. I imagined our future home, our children, and growing old with Tony. I felt safe and loved, and I believed he was the perfect man for me. My life was going to be a long and happy story, for a small change. The first few weeks after our engagement were wonderful. I looked at my beautiful ring every day. It was a sign of our future together, and I felt like the happiest woman in the world. We continued to plan our wedding. But then, a small change began, like a single dark cloud in a bright blue sky. It started slowly, so I almost did not see it. One afternoon, I was on the phone with an old friend from university. We laughed and talked for about 15 minutes. When I put the phone down, I saw Tony. He was standing in the doorway and he did not look happy. "Who was that?" he asked. His voice was cold. I told him it was just a friend. "Why do you need to talk to other men?" he said. I was very surprised. I told him he was silly and that I only loved him. I tried to laugh, but his serious face made me feel uncomfortable. A few days later, his jealousy came back. We were in a shop, and the cashier was a friendly young man. He smiled at me when he gave me my change. In the car, Tony was silent. "What is wrong?" I asked him. "I saw how you looked at him," he said, his voice low and angry. I could not believe it. I told him he was wrong, but he did not listen. He said I did not respect him. That night, I felt confused. This was not the sweet, caring man I knew. One evening, his anger exploded over something very small. I made dinner, but it was not the food he wanted. He started to shout. His voice was so loud it hurt my ears. He had never shouted at me before. I did not know what to do. Then he picked up his water glass from the table. He threw it against the wall. The glass smashed into many small pieces. The noise was terrible. I stood still, and my heart was beating very fast. I was scared. I had never felt scared of him before. I looked at the broken glass on the floor, and then I looked at his angry face. I told myself that he was just stressed. I thought about his difficult job and all the wedding plans. I wanted to believe that he was still the good man I fell in love with. I told myself that our love was strong enough to survive this. It was just a small problem, and it would go away. 5. The first hit. One evening, we had a bad argument. I do not remember why we started to fight. It was about something small, but Tony's anger grew very big. His face became red, and his voice was hard and cold. He said I did not listen to him. He said I did not care. This was different from the other times. His anger was bigger and more frightening. I felt a cold feeling in my stomach. I wanted him to stop, but he just became louder. I was scared of the look in his eyes. He did not look like the man I loved. His shouting was the loudest I had ever heard. It felt like the whole apartment was shaking with his voice. I wanted to cover my ears. Suddenly, he stopped shouting. He raised his hand and he hit me across the face. The room was silent for a second. My cheek was hot with pain. I was in complete shock. I could not believe it happened. I looked at him, but I did not recognize the person in front of me. His eyes were full of a terrible anger. He was a stranger, and I was very afraid of him. My heart was broken. Tears started to run down my face. The pain in my heart was worse than the pain on my cheek. My dream of a perfect life with him was gone. Then his face changed. The anger left his eyes and he looked scared. He saw my tears and he understood what he did. "Emma, I am so sorry," he said. His voice was quiet and shaking. He tried to hold me, but I stepped away. He started to cry. "Please," he begged, "please do not leave me. I love you. It will never happen again, I promise." I was very confused. I looked at the man crying on the floor. I still loved him. I remembered all the good times we had. I wanted to believe his promise. I wanted the kind Tony to come back. So I decided to stay. I told him I would forgive him. He hugged me, but I felt empty inside. From that day, everything was different. A new feeling lived inside me. It was fear. The fear stayed with me all the time, like a dark shadow in my heart. I was not the same happy person anymore. 6. A hard life. After that terrible night, our home felt different. It was not a happy place anymore. I was always very quiet and careful around Tony. I did not want to do anything that could make him angry again. The fear I felt when he hit me did not go away. It stayed with me every day like a dark cloud over my head. I tried to act normal, but it was difficult. I was always waiting for the next argument, the next storm. Soon, Tony started to control my life. He wanted to know where I was every minute of the day. Before I left for my job as a teacher, he asked many questions. "Where are you going after school? Who will you talk to?" At work, my phone rang many times. It was always Tony. "Are you with a man? What are you doing right now?" His voice was not kind or loving. It was cold and hard. If I came home 5 minutes late, he was angry and shouted at me. He also tried to keep me away from my friends. He told me, "Your friends are not good for you. They do not like me." This was not true. My friends were just worried about me. One afternoon, my best friend Sarah called me. Tony took the phone from my hand. "Emma cannot talk right now," he said, and he ended the call. After that, my friends did not call as much. I started to feel very lonely. My world became very small. It was just me and Tony. Our life moved in a strange circle. For a few days, Tony was the angry man. He shouted for small reasons, like the dinner being late. He sometimes broke things, like a plate or a cup. His anger was big and frightening. But then, the next day, he changed. He became the sweet man I first met. He brought me flowers or a box of chocolates. He hugged me and said, "I am so sorry, Emma. Please forgive me. I love you so much." My heart was confused. I hated the angry Tony, but I still had feelings for the kind Tony. I wanted to believe his promises. I hoped the good man would come back forever, so I stayed. I hid the truth from my family and friends. I told everyone that we were happy, but I felt trapped in a sad life, and I did not know what to do. 7, the last night. The evening started like many other evenings. We ate dinner in silence. I tried to be small and quiet. I did not want to make him angry, but it did not matter. His anger always found a reason. Tonight, the reason was a cup I put in the wrong place. His face became dark and his voice got loud. I knew what was coming next. My body started to shake before he even moved. He shouted words that hurt me. Then he picked up a wooden chair. With a loud roar, he threw it against the wall. The chair broke into pieces. Wood flew across the room. I screamed and ran to the bathroom. I locked the door and pressed my back against it. My heart was beating very fast, like a drum. I was so scared. I stayed there for a long time, listening to him walk around the living room. After some time, everything was quiet. I slowly unlocked the door. I looked at my face in the bathroom mirror. I did not know the person looking back at me. Her eyes were big with fear. There were dark circles under them. Her face was pale and sad. This was not me. This was not the happy Emma my friends and family knew. I remembered the woman I was before I met Tony. She was strong. She was happy. She had dreams. I looked at the sad face in the mirror and made a promise. I decided to save that woman. I knew what I needed to do. This was not love. Love is kind and makes you feel safe. It does not break chairs or make you hide in a bathroom. I deserved to be safe. I deserved to be happy again. I waited until I heard him sleeping. His breathing was deep and regular. The house was completely silent. I moved without making a sound. My hands were trembling, but my mind was clear. I took a small bag from my closet. I packed only the important things, some clothes, my wallet, and my phone. I did not take any of the gifts he gave me. I did not want anything to remember him. Each item I put in the bag was a step away from this life. I was quiet like a mouse. I was afraid he would wake up. I put on my coat and shoes. I walked to the front door. My hand was on the doorknob. I stopped for 1 second. Then I opened the door, stepped outside into the cold night, and closed it softly behind me. I did not look back. I just walked away. That night was the last night I was his. It was my last tear for him. I was leaving for good. 8, a new start. I moved to a new town many miles away from my old life. The town was quiet, with a small park and friendly shops. I found a small apartment on the second floor of a yellow building. It was not big, but it was my safe place. The sunlight came through the clean windows every morning. I bought a comfortable chair and a small bookshelf. I filled the bookshelf with my favorite books. For the first time in a long time, I could breathe. There were no angry voices here. There were no broken things. It was just my home, and it was peaceful. I found a job as a teacher in the local primary school. My students are 6 and 7 years old. They are full of life and laughter. Every day, they helped me to feel happy again. One little girl gave me a drawing of a smiling sun. She said it was for me. I put the picture on my wall at home. It reminded me that there is always light after the dark. My work gave me a routine. It helped me to build a new life, one day at a time. In the quiet evenings, I sometimes think about the past. I remember the girl who believed in a perfect love. I understand now that perfect love does not exist, but real love does. I learned a difficult but important lesson. True love should not hurt. It should not make you cry or feel afraid. Love is about kindness and respect. It is about feeling safe with someone, not trapped. Pain is not a part of love. Slowly, I learned to love myself again. I started doing things that made me happy. I took long walks in the park without looking over my shoulder. I sat in a small cafe and read my books for hours. I started to paint again, something I stopped doing when I was with Tony. I painted bright flowers and blue skies. I did not have to ask for permission. I was free. This freedom felt like sunshine on my face. Tony is a memory now. He is a chapter in my story, but it is a chapter that is finished. I am not that scared person anymore. I am strong. My heart was broken, but it has healed. My story has a happy ending. It is a happy ending because I chose it. I chose to save myself. I chose a new start, and I chose to be happy.